as a Team Liquid Zerg, it is Elazer.
And his opponent, you say he may be the GOAT. I'm going to say he is the GOAT. In the upper left, in the red for Basilisk, it's Serral.
Yeah, I mean, he has a massive, if not say, or rather, you know, dibs on the GOAT sign. Absolutely has a massive arguments to be made for him, doesn't he? I know people have talked about didn't partake in GSL, but he partook in GSL versus the world, and that was when he was kind of on the up and up and ended up taking it. Beat lots of good players, won BlizzCon as well that year, and ever since he's been kind of the Zerg that you know is always going to be reliable. And we've had players like Rogues and Marus that have been absolutely in contest. I forgot the word entirely, but it's something like contesting for that GOAT slot.
In the conversation.
Very often. Yeah, they very often they can go into a tournament and I'm just like, wow, what was that? What turned up just then? Whereas with Serral, I never really get that feeling. Like if he goes out, it's always him still battling and making good calls. So yeah, for me, absolutely is the GOAT. But yeah, Serral, or rather Elazer, is not an easy opponent. ZVZ is something that Serral has been exposed in. Like Solar at Gamers 8 3-0'd him, and it was with pretty cheeky shenanigans as well. And ZVZ, when your opponent's given the same tools that you are, making these little shortcuts, these little twists and turns, absolutely can catch you off. But yeah, we can't beat around the bush. Serral is the overwhelming favorite here.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. We talk about every time Serral runs into Elazer, every time that Serral runs into Lambo, and we say, hey, this is probably his most dangerous matchup of the tournament. And then every single time we say that, Serral still beats him. So I still agree with that sentiment. Elazer is a tricky Zerg. He plays a very different style of ZVZ. And while Serral's ZVZ has gotten, yes, he was 3-0'd by Solar at Gamers 8, but in general, I would say his ZVZ has gotten a lot better since it was exposed at Katowice this year, where he got knocked out by Ragnarok in a very surprising series. Again, European Zergs have been pretty vocal about not practicing ZVZ against each other because it's actually not worth it. You'll never practice against everyone. Someone's not going to practice, and you're giving away more information than you're gaining. Is kind of the working theory right there. So it's hard to get good practice. It's hard to figure out what's happening, and we play against a player like Elazer that does weird things. Well, certainly he's absolutely a player that can go and put at least a B in Serral's bonnet, even if he doesn't take the series.
Yeah, I mean, like the players of like the caliber that Elazer is, like Lambo, for instance, they've actually absolutely pushed Serral, absolutely have. And it isn't a foregone conclusion, it's just Serral's that damn good. Like Serral is all about scouting you, which you see he's doing here, always manages to slip on lings inside just to see exactly what's going on, making big counting to see exactly, hey, what's your gas count at, clicking all these buildings, buying as much time as possible. And Elazer, he's a player that's all about crisp timing. Now, doesn't mean that he can't do anything else, because he absolutely can. But yeah, this is what Serral does best, where he just kind of gets a hole, gets a read, gets to make the right calls, and we're going to see them both head into a very similar situation here. Roach Warren does start fairly early for Elazer, and we do see that Serral going for a little bit of a wall off here. Nicely done. They've both gone for a Baling Nest as well, fairly early on, and the layers are literally a second apart here, so fairly similar builds, but again, Serral just continually scouting everything that's going on. So he's far more in the know than Elazer is.
Yeah, and it's interesting. We look at what Elazer's doing right now and what Serral's doing right now. Elazer has been this scion of upgradeless roaches. He's been singing this siren song of, well, if I just hit with a bunch of roaches and I don't spend that extra 100, 150 gas on upgrades, well, that's going to be an extra 4 roaches. It's going to be an extra 6 roaches. I just thought the gas count is failing. Gets a decent connection right there, but Serral, he's not going to get much more. And then I run across the map and I have that extra 6 roaches, and in a roach war in a mirrored matchup, that actually makes a big difference. But in this game, Elazer is in fact getting those upgrades, and now, well, all else being equal, his upgrades are just behind. That's the big difference. Everything else is pretty much the same here, although he did actually drone up a little bit more, Ben, so there is that.
Yeah, there's a few things here. Like, it's not so clear cut. Like, he went for Overlord speed very quickly, and he's getting a Dropper Lord. And I'm very curious about how he's going to use that. He droned up a little bit faster as well to this magic number of eventual 66, where it's perfect saturation across 3 bases. And Serral, he's been constantly kind of nipping and scouting with lings here, there, and everywhere, but this Overlord speed could definitely be a little bit of a game changer in this game, especially if it goes unscouted, but fortunately for him, Serral with an Overlord right there, seeing exactly what it is, but seeing it is half the battle, and Serral, again, he's all about trying to scout what his opponent's doing, but 4th bases both going down, as you said, upgrades both going down as well. It's just Elazer was a little bit faster to get that 66 drone count up and running.
Yeah, and in all honesty, he doesn't have to commit to this Trapper Lord. It is enough to just keep it on the... It's only 8 supply, realistically. It's enough to just keep it off to the side and force Serral to stay at home a little bit, force Serral to play a little bit more defensively, and the moment that Serral does decide to make something happen, that he does decide to play on the map, then you can maybe make something happen here, but for now, he's thinking about it, and honestly, this is just going to be a dead queen. There's not enough transfuses, so an assassination on a queen early on is really nice. There's less luck. He's going to get multiple queens here. That is so nice for Elazer. So much production just taken off the top. And now what are we looking at queen count-wise? It's 1 queen for Serral. He doesn't have the injects that he needs.
Ooh. Okay. A little bit of a bailing detonation there. Did take out 5 drones for his troubles. I mean, Elazer with the 2 queen snipe, probably fairly equivalent to the 5 drones. But if he is to plan a nice timing attack now, when the lava count is probably fairly low for Serral, like, those queens still aren't remade just yet. Hey, this could be the bad boy, eh?
I mean, this could be. For right now, the army supplies are identical. 86 to... Well, right now, Serral's got 2 more, I guess, but it's close enough. 86 to 88 here. And the big deal is both players, Burrow's on the way, Burrow movement's on the way. Serral's second Evo is so much faster, and that has kind of been the story of this game thus far, where it's been Serral just quicker into the upgrades and the Contaminate as well. So that gap, Ben, that just continues to grow. Serral's going to have such a nice timing in the next minute or so. Actually, less than that.
Yeah, I mean, like, I thought for a second that Elazer was going to skip that second Evo and maybe just go for, like, a lot of that gas being utilized on the upgrades and such, but so far, Serral's taken a lot of the boxes for just scouting, being on the ball. And by the way, look at the vision of both these players on the minimap. Like, that is insane. If you skip it from one side to the other, I'm looking at Serral's vision right now. It literally looks like I'm using map hack for a moment. He sees absolutely everything everywhere, and he is just shimmying out. Have you locked onto his vision at any point?
I've been, well, I haven't been looking at his perspective as he moves around, but yeah, just the map vision for both these players is insane. You're right. It's going to be so hard to make anything happen. So, I mean, I think Elazer's realized that he doesn't have any sort of aggressive timing. Getting that contaminated, having that go down, just how slow his second Evo is. Well, he's going to batten down the hatches. 4 spines going down, adding in that infestation pit, getting ready for the next stage of this game because, Ben, this is Golden Aura. And let's be real, attacking into Golden Aura, at least on the core 4, is so hard. This choke, good luck. You're not attacking into it. Going up this ramp, not really. There are the rocks there. Serral has this timing, but unless Elazer makes a massive mistake, he's not really going to be able to do all that much. So now, I mean, Elazer, talk about not going to make a massive mistake. That could have been one. And a Bile, it's going to get a couple roaches here. It shouldn't be much more than that. I don't think Elazer commits too hard to this, but he thinks he might have the read. Dives on top. Biles, though, hitting so many of his Ravagers. And this was the mistake that Serral needed. We talked about how hard it is to attack, Ben, and about how Elazer probably not going to make a big mistake. Well, that's a big one.
I'm so surprised that he attacked right before his upgrades. Look at them, Bio. They're like both not too far away from finishing, but Elazer, I think it was one of those times where it's like you feel that you have to do something, like just to buy yourself time, but he committed, and then Serral was so good about targeting down those Ravagers one by one with his units. It was really clean play. They're both getting ready for the next stage of the game, though. Elazer is alive, does have his 5th base earlier than Serral as well, but will he stay alive for this one? I mean, he's got a nice little concave going so far, and more units joining the fray.
Yeah, certainly, but there's another hit squad. Tons of Burrowed Roaches, but Elazer's got the scout on that one, so yeah, makes a big mistake. Attacks in when he really shouldn't have. When Serral had 2-1 and he had +1 attack, just not all that great. But now you're right, he's got his 5th base done. He's holding on very nicely. He's going to just burrow these roaches up. Not even to attack. I mean, it's under Serral's vision, but just to heal up, to make sure that his roaches on the next engagement are as healthy as they could be. And Ben, I'm so excited because we're moving into late game ZVZ. It's Hydra, Lurker, Viper. For my money, that's just a better TVT. And TVT, when you get in the chess match, that's a solid matchup. So I'm excited to see what the players have in store.
Serral's been so good about his upgrades. Like, it's so good. Like, as soon as the high finished, I just saw the +3 pop off for those roaches and what have you. The Lurker Den on its way as well. Elazer is not too far behind. Like, he's not too far missing a beat. He does have the hive up and done, but these upgrades are just a little bit slower. And yeah, that has been the kind of tail of the game. And as the game gets later, it's no longer one of those games where I'm like, oh yeah, Elazer, I feel this is great for you. The longer this goes, there isn't a man that I would pit against Serral when it comes to late game ZVZ.
No, he literally got it. He got Burrowed Roach's nerf because once you get into this game state, he would beat literally anyone. We talk about ZVZ as if this is Serral's weak matchup, and it is. It absolutely is. This nice snipe there on the Ravager. But you go a couple years ago, you go back to like 2019, Serral didn't lose this matchup either. His dropper, his roach drop control, his burrowed roach control, all of these things were untouchable to the point where he, much like Beyond got Reaper's nerfed, Serral got burrowed roach's nerfed. And now it's a little bit more reasonable, certainly, but I mean, Serral in the late game, you're right, Ben. It's not a winning proposition against pretty much anyone.
No, absolutely not. Like, once Vipers come out of the field, I think he is the best user of Vipers, like, bar none. Granted, they had a little bit of a change in the patch with the whole Abduct not being able to be as rapidly cast, but that still doesn't stop Serral from using them beautifully, and keeping them alive is one of the most important parts. But you can really see them both gearing up here. It's like, okay, minerals, got plenty of them. It's going to become a gas game very soon. And lurkers are out and about. First one's being shown here for Serral. And right now you're going to see a lot of giving up the roaches to slowly get a more valuable army behind it. So we'll start to see less roaches being added, lots more hydras, vipers, and lurkers.
Yeah, the trick here, of course, is you don't want to give them away all at once. You want to go and trade 5 there, 10 there, slowly build your better army. Because if you trade away 20 roaches, say, very, very quickly in this game, it's like, files aren't going to land this time. But if you trade them away like that, your opponent can't max out on roaches and just run across the map. Absolutely. So Serral's doing a great job. I love the defensive burrow, though, and just the chess match here of, oh, I'm going to get a queen. No, I'm not. Fine. Now Vipers are on the way. 5 of them coming out for Elazer. We've got, it's gotta cook for like 7 Vipers for Elazer very quickly. Serral's not gonna have that number. I mean, it's gonna mean his ground army's gonna have more supply. But Ben, when we talked about this setup, it doesn't matter how much more supply your ground army has. Oh, I love the lurker ambush there. Doesn't matter how much more supply your ground army has if they can't fight.
Yeah, the supplies are a little bit deceiving here because they're both bouncing around max here and like up to 190. But if we look at the gas bank, that is where the tail is truly showing. Like Serral, he's been trading out those roaches very cost efficiently. Lurker count is growing for him. So far, it hasn't been growing too much for Elazer, but he does have a slightly higher Hydra count. But okay, now the lurkers are coming. But Serral, at some point, when he does trade out these roaches, and he's doing it cost efficiently as well, he's going to have so much gas to use. And oh, the first Vipers yoinked here from Serral. Great yoinks from him. Yeah,
2 dead Vipers there, and the reactive blinding clouds just don't do enough. So not only is the fact that Serral's gas bank, because he's been trading so much better, he also took the double gas in his 5th base, and that's not something that Elazer has done. So now we're just starting to see this game where Elazer is slowly bleeding out. He's taking bad trades, and Serral is... I mean, we talk about, who was it, Thorzane the Spoon Terror, just slowly taking small spoons out of his opponent time after time and winning the game that way. That's what Serral's been doing this game. He's been taking spoons, honestly, bigger and bigger spoons as the game has gone on. I think it feels like ladles at this point, but even still, Elazer's been on the back foot. He's been defending. He's been developing his economy well enough, and those are nice abducts on the lurkers. But it's all about efficiency, and Serral up 2,000 resources at this point and mining more.
Yeah, I mean, like, this is awesome from both of them, actually. Like, you're absolutely right with the gas call on the 5th here, because it is a gas game, and Serral's gas has been climbing, and his army complexity been strengthened as well. Both on very similar numbers. 4 Vipers, 15 Roaches, 28 to 23 Hydras. Elazer has to be careful, though. These Vipers, where on earth are they flying? Oh, no, this is actually a super blunder from Elazer, and getting those caught off guard. Oh, all of them caught off guard before a fight even begins. Oh, no, that is not what you want to see.
Not even reactive blinding clouds as well. I mean, it's one of those things, right, where if you're gonna lose them, you might as well get their energy out, parasitic bomb the Vipers, blinding cloud, do something, right? Find value. But it's been 8 dead Vipers, man. 8 dead Vipers for, I want to say, not a single one. And now at this point, Serral, 4,000 gas, 4,000 minerals, tons of lurkers here, 3-3 done. and he's starting to push. This army that he's been able to build, he's got this timing now where there are no Vipers on the field for Elazer. He's got them made now, but they don't have energy. You have to have Vipers. You need that map control. You need that space control. And as Serral pushes in here, Elazer just doesn't have that available to him.
No, I mean, Serral's getting a bit rambunctious here, but oh my goodness, those lurkers just butchered all those Hydras. Elazer's been fighting a different problem as well entirely. He lost so many Overseers that he got supply blocked absolutely massively there. Serral still has a bunch of Roaches still alive. I'm not exactly sure where they are on the field right now. I think they've been doing defensive work in the north because Elazer has been trying to make something happen on a different portion of the map. But again, gas, it is all about gas late game in this matchup. And look what Serral has oodles of and Elazer has nothing of.
I mean, it just got to pull up resources last year. 3,500 gas lost to almost 6,000. Quite frankly, minerals, they matter, absolutely, but they are a far more easy resource to come by in the late game. Gas, though, far more limited, and this is the only thing that really matters in a late game ZVZ. When you talk about lurkers and Vipers, and it's going to be a couple more donations. 3, 4 more lurkers will fall. And on top of this, right, we talk about how much more Serral's been mining. He took his extra gases that much faster. He's been trading so much more efficiently in the gas count. It's going to be more dead Vipers. My goodness here. It is not often that we see such Viper dominance. I mean, this is nice. A couple more Vipers will go down, but blinding clouds, more dead. Serral's lost 3 this game. Elazer, I want to say it's up to 11.
Yeah, like two Vipers lost to 11. You can definitely tell that Serral's taken really good engagements here. Yes, be careful though. That is a big army all in the middle, and Elazer's kind of fighting one side at a time. I love this by Elazer. It's kind of the fight that he was sort of looking for, but again, Serral, that gas count is kept on climbing. He just made 5 Vipers, 15 Hydras, 3 Lurkers, and he's still at 4k plus gas. He is a rich boy and a cost-efficient boy. Elazer's just throwing it, though, down the middle.
I mean, he's got it at this point. Nice target fire there. 1 Viper goes down so quickly. And now Elazer's got himself a really nice position, sectioned off the 5th base, this north side base from the rest of it. So this base will go down based on the north side as well. This seems like that should fall in, well, after that, because of this sectioning. But Serral, he's got the gold base on the way here as well. But Elazer finds that. It doesn't fix the gas count, Ben, but it is a wonderful move to, at the very least, make it so from this point on, at least the players are mining the same amount. At least the economies have been equalized.
Yeah, sort of. I mean, like, with Elazer going over here, I love the fact that he's only done it with a small portion of Hydras. No cancel on that bottom left base. Elazer's starting to get a little bit of ground here. And again, that resources lost tab, it was like 12k versus 20k. Elazer definitely brought it back in these last few engagements, and that is a lot of dead drones here. The one thing I'm scared for him is, that means that Serral can punch his supply up with valuable units, and yeah, time bought. He is moving over in the bottom left and dealing just as much damage, if not more here, if he can get a really nice position here against Elazer.
I mean, the difference here, of course, is that this base, taking down the bottom side base, is a problem. It's a lot harder to go high ground. It is so much harder to push up this ramp than it was for Elazer to find that position, take this base out, take the north side base out, send a couple Hydras to deny the gold. So yeah, Elazer loses a base that he's honestly been mining out of for quite a while. He does have another base on the way. I would argue that, yeah, Elazer's not the best spot in his economy. His bank is not incredible. Losing this single base, not as bad as losing 3 for Serral. It's still rough. He still needs to redevelop that economy, but at least is kind of moving in the right direction. The big thing now, though, it's 3 Vipers to 7, Ben. You need more.
It's also the lurker game. It's 14-5, and Serral, again, has more money to make more. Like, he's just been more efficient with the gas, and I think Elazer's done a lot of good stuff here where it's like, okay, I urgently need to do something when he needed it. He did make it happen, but look, that amount of Vipers, that is a freaking fleet, and that is so hard to engage. Like, he's outnumbered, outgunned. Serral is just in a nice position here, and he knows it. Again, look at this. This is wonderful.
Yeah, he's going to get the right side base as well. So now we're in this situation where Elazer, you look at his income, he's actually not mining blinding clouds on both sides.
And the yoink.
And you can afford to trade a couple of Vipers here if you're Serral. You're at 3.55k. And you had more Vipers to start, although only some of your Vipers fighting all of the Vipers of Elazer. Not exactly what you want. I guess he was distracted by the north side. But again, you can afford to trade 1 Viper for 1 here with your bank, and just with that superior Viper count, you're going to wipe away all the control that Elazer has on the battlefield, and you're still going to have a ton. So Now Elazer, he's back on 4 bases. His map is super constrained. He's going to lose some of these lurkers on the north side. It's been a slow spoonful of death here, but Serral takes game 1.
That was actually really good out of Serral. Like, there was obviously ZVZ, when there's so much happening everywhere, there are moments where anybody can look a bit like sloppy and such, but this game, I actually felt they both played good, and it takes a good player to push Serral, because that real shove down the middle where Serral was caught a tiny bit off guard, where it was like, you know, we had on both sides, but Elazer just chose to funnel in on one and then really gunned it. Got a base kill, got to kill all those drones in the other side, but Serral is like, that didn't quite go like I wanted it to, but I'll be on the other side of the map. I'll approach the other side. But yeah, once it gets to a stage where it's about Viper micro and just efficiency, Serral is like second to none in that department. You really see it. And everywhere we looked, the fights that were happening, when we said it was about gas and trading out units cost efficiently, it's not like he just says, okay, all the roaches go. Like, he kept them alive, sprinkled them in here, there, and everywhere, constantly got value out of them. And it was just, he replenished his army with good stocky units that he's just better with. And he's such a scary player once he gets to that stage. Like, Elazer has to think about how he wants to deal with that, or how he wants to avoid dealing with it, I think, in the next game.
Yeah, and I think part of it was Golden Aura is just a map that is very... We saw how hard it is to attack into. It kind of, in certain matchups, when you have these strong splash siege units, breaking 3 or 4 bases is really, really hard. So it almost forces the game to go late. Maybe on other maps. Let me take a look here. I want to say that was probably map 1 for Elazer. That was Serral's map pick. Okay. That makes sense. That's the type of game that Serral wants to play. Now, Hecate, of course, is going to be for Elazer. It's going to be his time to maybe throw a spanner in the works as we get into game 2.
And spawning over in the bottom left as a Blue Zerg representing Team Liquid, it is Elazer.
His opponent in the upper right, in the red, up a game in this series. For Basilisk, it's Serral.
Always a pleasure to watch Serral play. When I said it, that whenever I've seen him play, and I watch him, and I know that Serral entering a best of with anybody, he's at least going to bring a very good level, you know? Like, there's some players where you can see Maru go, like, bring his A++. I feel that Serral is absolutely one of the most consistent top level players that we've ever had. And yeah, just the first game, doing all the textbook lovely things in RTS, like the scouting, the reacting, doing multi-pronged stuff, the micro, the macro. Just, he ticks all the right boxes for any RTS enjoyer. And yeah, he's like, he's one of those champs that you just, it feels right when he wins. Like, it just feels right. I don't feel like hard done, like, oh damn, Zerg at it again. I just feel like, wow, yeah, he just played damn good, man. Well played.
You know, he honestly, Serral's the Zilnaga. Purity of form, purity of function, put right together. And you're right. We saw how hard it is to beat him. But Ben, Elazer, his pool was about half a second faster than Serral's. So already a big... I'm kidding. By the way, if it wasn't clear. But yeah, no, very, very similar openings coming out here. And again, this is a series where I think Elazer has to do things weird. He's got to hit Nidus play. He's got to hit Evo-less Roach timings, Carapace timings. He's got to really start to punish Serral for, well, being Serral. And we didn't see that in game 1.
There is a very tiny reason for that spawning pool being slightly faster. I know you were memeing, but very often, like, Zerg players, when it gets to this level where you're, like, the stakes are so high and you're playing such good players, it's like, oh, if I spawn in the bottom where my lava will be closer to the minerals, that's a little bit better for me. And also, a lot of players do prefer spawning at the bottom in general, just because interface is at the bottom, so you get to see more on the up, and it's easier that way. So, in Elazer's head, that's, you know, a few things that go his way, at least, getting into the second game, you know?
Ben, you know, it's been a long time since I've heard that argument about how, oh, we should just have north and top side, or north side, or north side, bottom side shouldn't be a thing. You should have mirrored maps, so wherever you spawn in, you should be on bottom side, things like that. Call back to the lore there. And, you know, it's reasonable. You see more of your base, or you see more actionable space of your base, because if you're on the north side, you can see all the dead airspace. Doesn't help you all that much, but you know. So yeah, minor speed differential, but for the most part, again, this is very samey. We have third base is on the way, Baneling Nest on the way at the same time. Elazer mining 3 out of 3, Serral as well, playing very safe here, getting Banelings if they need to. And the big difference actually we saw from Serral in game 1 compared to Elazer was that he got his Banelings a little bit faster. He played that much safer because, again, he understands that if he goes across that, I mean, he's gonna win that late game. But I like this attempted snipe from Serral. It's not gonna get much, but that queen was very exposed and off creep.
Banelings at the natural as Elazer met them. I think he's greeted them with 1 queen, and 1 queen is enough. I mean, that Baneling can. Oh, dude, if that was a split second later there, not only would it have got the lava, it could have got all those lings exploding there. That was very fortunate for Elazer, but Elazer, he's going to launch the aggression here on the counter.
I think I heard a larva die as well, but yeah, this counter aggression coming out of Elazer is strong. He's got Banelings trundling across, more lings on the way. Roach Warren behind this. He's going to get a queen here to start, which is so nice, and now Ling's trying to dive in, but oh, what a shot on the Banes! And now one's going to try to find its way into the drone line. They're not paired, though, and that makes it a little bit harder. So many low drones, and I love what Elazer does. He splits them off. He sets all the drones low, and now 7 workers are going to go down. This is incredible damage for Elazer. Now he's just sitting on top of the drones. It's 17 dead workers. Serral, at this point, he's pumping roaches. Absolutely, he has to. But he has taken so much damage.
Wow, what a way for Elazer to turn this game on its head, man. Like, a little bit of aggression went at him, but he launched it, man. He was so decisive about just sending it across the map. And now he knows that Serral is absolutely all in here. And with this amount of Zerglings on the field, and he's getting his own roaches as well, Serral, I won't be surprised if he taps out at any moment here, because this is dreadful for him.
It really is. I mean, you can't afford to lose that much, and now Link's getting a... Link, oh, he could cancel the Banelings, but doesn't know how quite far along they are. And now, again, run by, sectioning off a couple to just block the wall, and the rest of it, more drone damage. CVZ snowball, and this one absolutely did. Serral, he loses the game, to the surprise, I think, of many. Elazer ties it up, 1-1.
Wow. You know, I mentioned, like, Elazer's going to have to look for ways to avoid that that late game happening, and that is one way to do it. I don't even think it was, like, a super necessary, like, planned all in. It was just, like, a momentum thing. Like, he dealt with the aggression, countered with the aggression. It was just like, let's freaking go. Like, and very often ZVZ can be one of these early game skirmishes, right? Where, like, you do the skill checks and all that. And Serral massively called out, and a Baneling detonation went awry. Quick queen went down. Very cool by Elazer, and that is more his kind of playground there. Late game, absolutely Serral's. Early game with these timings, Elazer's, and tied up the series. Lovely to see.
Yeah, and you know, Ben, by the way, just as an aside, I love how the most controversial thing about this tournament, all the broadcasts we've been having, as far as not player racial imbalance or who's good or who's not good, it absolutely is how we pronounce Hecate and Alcyone and things like that. Like, I love to live in a world where the greatest controversy we have in the game of StarCraft is just, how do you pronounce the map? Is it hard lead? Is it hard lead? Is it things like that? But no, you're right. That snowball effect coming out of Serral, or that Serral had to run into, I think it was reactive. I do want to point out, by the way, and I know we talked about it in the game, but Elazer's presence of mind to not just try to bomb his Banelings on top of the already wounded drones, and then, okay, I'm going to get 6, but I'm not going to get more than that, versus bombing them on top of the extra clumps so they're all only on about 5 HP, and then Lings go and they kill them all off. All that happens, and you get 17 instead. Is such a it's a heads-up decision. And it's a large part of what won Elazer game 2, but Ben, it's game 3.
And we'll get right on into it. Spawning over here in the bottom right of, I believe that is hard lead. It is Elazer.
In the upper left, though, in the raid, getting caught a little off guard by too many Lings and too many Banes for Basilisk. It's Serral.
Yeah, this is I mean, I've seen Serral a couple of times now in the past couple of weeks. And I say a couple of times, like, it's getting slightly caught off guard. Like, he had that moment in WTL against Wayne on Rod Huset Station where it was like, oh, damn, the Niders, you know, got him. This game, obviously, Elazer with the counter-aggression, but I spoke about it last game. Elazer, again, spawns on the bottom. Gets that hatchery up a little bit faster. Lava spawning on the bottom as well, close to your minerals. Could the stars be aligning for Elazer spawning in the bottom? Several maps in a row. Could that be it?
I don't know. Although he did lose game 1, and he spawned on the bottom on that map as well. So
we'll forget about that one. We'll forget about that one.
You tried. Look, Ben, you're 50%. A great. We're gonna talk about sports analogies here. You know, a great hitter in baseball. They fail 70% of the time. You're doing better than that.
Do they actually? I mean, I know very little about baseball.
Yeah, a good batting average. So the number of times you get on base every at bat is a really good batting average is 30%.
Wow, they
Yeah.
suck.
So
that's why Americans only play it. If it was Europeans, it would be like, you know, actual positive ratios and stuff, right?
what do you mean by that?
Anyway, let's get on to this game, you know. No. I mean, I was just being a jackass.
It's
All
okay.
right, so
I'm American. I don't know how fractions work. It's fine.
No, me neither. I mean, I don't know how baseball works, but I'm also a Brit that doesn't know how cricket works, really. Like, those guys just keep on running. But this game, everything very mirrored between them. Like, there's definitely slight timing variations here, but both going for the exact same thing, basically. It is Elazer that tends to skip out on the early links to scout with, but this game will be going for them. They're just going to have that little juke and jive and dance about and what have you. But third base is going to go down pretty much exactly at the same time as well for both these guys.
I mean, Serral's got his third base. Ben, your theory here about upper side versus bottom side, well, Serral's third base is about a second faster. So, hate to tell you, the upper side, bottom side theory is not bearing you out there. Even still, third base, roughly the same time. It really won't make that big of a difference. And I guess the big difference here is that Serral has opted for a Baneling Nest in Game 3, and Elazer hasn't. It's still not impossible for him to get it. He's only 10 gas above the Baneling Nest timing. But the longer this goes, the more likely he's going to skip that. He's got Lings on the way for maybe a bit of aggression, a bit of defense on the speed timing. And actually, I mean, this is a lot of Lings he's making on 25 drones here, Ben.
It's a lot of Lings, and his gas was significantly quicker, so even though the gas is fishing up for Serral, it's not yet done, and the link count is already spiraling. Like, Serral wanted that Baneling Nest a few seconds ago. Now he's going to start morphing them in, and he does have a lot of Lings. I don't know if his timing is perfect for defending this, or if it's going to get super dicey, but I love where he's morphed them in that little nook there. It's going to be very hard for Elazer to do anything about them. Yeah, and behind this, Elazer, he got his, well, third base is done, but he's got a Roach Forn on the way. He's droning up heavily behind this, but we're going to consider this a win for Serral. He actually drones up a little bit harder. He gets up to 27 drones, 28 drones a little bit faster. He had that economy a little bit earlier on, and then he had to pump a couple units, and, well, Elazer puts the pressure on. They trade. A single Baneling for a single Ling is a good trade for Elazer. And now, at this point, well, Serral's got a full scout. He sees the Roach Roar, and he sees the lack of a lair, which is the big thing at 4 minutes in. And we're going to have to see where things go. But Lings, think about diving in, getting on top of the Queen. A couple Lings section off. This Baneling won't make a connection, and the Queen will eventually get shut down. A really nice concave coming out of Elazer as well on these Lings. And Serral running away into the drone line. So that is a time when Serral should win this fight. But workers fall. Queen goes down. Really nice move out of Elazer in this third game. I really like what Elazer's bringing, man. Like, it's absolutely not letting Serral breathe, and he's relentless, absolutely relentless. Here, he's getting ready for the second wave as well. It's like a bunch of roaches, but he's macroing as well behind it. So I think he's totally playing with the fact that Serral's so good at scouting and seeing everything, and just trying to make him wonder what the hell is going on. And Elazer does have more supply. He's got way more drones as well. But he's just hoping that Serral misreads this and just stays on home. But damage has been done. Elazer's taken a pretty big lead this game. Yeah, and this is one of those things that Serral gets in the main base. He's going to see the lair, so he's going to know that for the moment he's safe. It would be a really weird timing if Elazer moves out with a lair on the way. Again, you're setting yourself up for round 2, round 3 for higher tech. Serral's one issue in ZVZ, and this has been true for a while now, is that it's a lot harder to figure out exactly what your opponent's doing. And honestly, this is the matchup more than any other, where scouting can hurt you as much as help you. You can see the wrong thing. Your opponent, it's a lot easier to sell something wrong. And then you run across the map and you try to break an opponent that's actually macroing and playing very defensively, or you prep for mutas and your opponent actually is only going to build 4 of them, and then they max out on roaches and they kill you. It's a lot harder to read. And that has, I mean, if Serral's strong point more than anything else is his ability to scout, well, I'm worried for Serral this game, man. Mm-hmm. I am. Like, I'm both an Elazer fan, being a Team Liquid and all, but I'm always a Serral fan. And so far, if I am in Serral's corner and I'm like, damn, the Elaser's throwing everything I don't want him to be throwing at me right now. Like, he's got up to a decent work account. Granted, Serral did a good job of just reading and just making sure that he didn't get caught off guard, so he's up to that number as well. He just got less. And they're both doing the same stuff. Serral has the slightly earlier +1 timing, but Elazer, I've got a feeling that he's honing in on what he wants to achieve in this series, which is get to a good number, not make it a super scary late game. Nice little connection there by Serral, getting a couple of drones down, and again, that scouting from Serral. He's been meticulous about it. It's just very hard to react to a player that's playing at a very fast pace.
Yeah, and I love what we're seeing out of Elazer, by the way. He's going for these roach drops 2 out of the 3 games, and every single time he tries to lead with roaches to knock down any scouting in the path. Unfortunately for him, Serral has map hacks on the map. It is, well, actually, I guess, yeah, there we go. It's kind of map hacks. He has so much vision on the map that even as Elazer tries to deny the scout, even as Elazer tries to prevent this from being shown, he sees it anyways. But now, Roach is in the main base. This is going to be a queen assassination once again. Second one falling in this game, and Serral's actually a little bit slow on the reaction time, so these are going to be dead drones as well. Serral, I don't know where he was looking, but not the main. It's going to be 4 dead workers, maybe even more. Well, actually, I guess it's going to be 3. Picks up, runs away, but a queen, a couple workers here, and now Elazer running pell-mell at the front. This 4th base, I mean, the Ravagers are at the front, which is not where you want to be, Elazer. This 4th base is under heavy pressure. Elazer's up about 15 army supply.
Yeah, I mean, Serral is doing counter damage at the 3rd base of Elazer. He's also dropping something in the main, doing his own drop. So very cool to see the counter being done, and they're having to defend one another. I mean, the 4th base is cancelled by Serral. The army is definitely better for Elazer, but he is caught in a hard place here. I think he's overextended massively. Serral getting a massive concave and surround on this army, but is it enough? He's still behind in supply, but Elazer's timing is kind of gone here. It's been thwarted.
Even still, he denied the 4th base. The army trade wasn't... no, it was actually that bad. I was going to say, yeah, maybe it's not that bad. But no, that really hurt. He lost all of his Ravagers. They got targeted down. And 8 drones, 9 drones going down in the main base. This was the damage that Elazer should have gotten on his Roach drop. He only got 3 drones. He only got that queen, which is important. Don't get me wrong. But it felt like he could have gotten so much more. So now down 5 workers economically. He has to drone up instead of building army units. And Serral's got +2, that much faster. He's got Burrow, that much faster. Burrow movement on the way. But the big, if we're going to talk about it as being a big difference, the only difference, or the big difference is the fact that this is double Evo for Elazer. He's got Carapace that will allow him to trade that much better in these big army fights. That being said, Serral, again, contaminate play, shuts this timing down.
I mean, this is really cute out of Serral. Like, you know, he thought that play out of Elazer was really cute with the roaches, and he's like, you know what, I'll take it as well, and he do it even better. And once the game got a bit chaotic, you really felt that Elazer knew what his timing was, his momentum there, but absolutely got a little bit eager, a little bit carried away, having Serral on the ropes, and he bounced back. And that counter drop with the 9 drone kills, yeah, that brought Serral more than back into it. And now, momentum is not in Elazer's side anymore. He feels like he has to sit back and wait for Serral to come to him, and that's not what you want to be doing.
Now, I mean, we saw what happened in game number 1. You give Serral a late game, and he is going to take it for a ride. But Elazer, the key thing here, he does have a timing. He's not going to beat it for the first one to +2. Absolutely not. But he's going to have that 2-1 timing. He will be able to maybe well, he's actually maxed out right now. And if he can try to hit that, that is going to be a power position for him. It's actually, Serral's army is not in the best position on the map right now, so that's going to be something as Roach drops now into the natural here. And Elazer's maxed out, so he can't defend this on the rally anymore. He's going to have to section off part of his army to go back home, which is never great. And another queen will fall. So Serral, this Roach drop play has been so powerful, and he's going to catch an army in the middle of the map. The Biles, well, Ravagers the front line. Biles don't even hit, but the Ravagers fall. Serral starting to really mess with the mind of Elazer. Elazer on the north side, he's losing 3 fights somehow. Every single fight that Elazer's taking, he's losing every single one. And that, if you're going to take 3 fights, you feels like at least one of them you should be up in supply. You should be in a better position. But Serral just shows how world class he is. And that drop, by the way, still gets value and a scout in the natural.
Look at the upgrades. I mean, Elazer was moments away from 2-1 finishing, and +2 just finished for Serral, and that's when all the fights happened. It was beautiful. Puppet mastery out of him. And the resources lost having a mirror when they both had the exact same units.
Oh, man.
Elazer's almost lost twice as much. GG, well played, Serral.
Yeah, that was... Again, Elazer had this game where I think he had, in the early game, in the mid game, he had a very real opportunity to win that game. And then he dives into a Serral concave, loses all of his Ravagers, takes damage on the other side from Dropper Lords, and turns out that losing 10 workers and all your Ravagers and about 20 more supply than your opponent isn't quite as good as getting a fourth base, you know? One of these trades was better, and it was the trade on the side of Serral.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those moments where Elazer, after dealing that damage at the fourth base, or at least cancelling it, having his own up and running and stuff, definitely got a bit too eager. Because if there's one weakness of Ravagers, it's the fact that they've got way lower health than the Roaches, and they're expensive. You know, they're very pricey. And Serral getting that massive wraparound on him, but that was exactly what he needed in that situation. Because up until then, yeah, he was feeling it. Like Elazer's game plan was absolutely working out. It's a cool ZVZ, man. You can definitely tell that Elazer isn't like momentously outgunned, but you can just feel that Serral knows how to win games and get himself back into it, right? Into the driver's seat. And Elazer is all about throwing him off, and he's doing a damn good job. It's just Serral.
Yeah, the cool thing about this matchup, by the way, is we've seen 3 very different games. We saw the late game, which when you have like Serral versus Dark or something like that high level ZVZ, that is such an awesome game to watch. And then we had game 2, and Elazer finds an opening. He sledgehammers across the map. He takes the win. Does a really good job of showcasing where he's strong. And then game 3, we see Serral's strength about his ability to withstand and defend and even from a position of weakness, take those good trades and come back into games. So this series thus far has been a story of what Elazer and Serral are good at. And now with Elazer on match point, looking to move on to the next round, we're going to go to game 4.
Absolutely are. Spawning over the bottom left here. As our Red Zerg playing for Basilisk Gaming, it is Serral. Or Team Blast Basilisk, rather.
And in the upper right, for Team Liquid, for Demu's favorite team, down a map, it's Elazer.
StarCraft fans all over, I would say. You know, one of the most, in fact, maybe the longest standing team in StarCraft 2 history, at least at a tip-top level, eh? I mean, they were right there from the get-go, being there through Brood War, and still going, still making sick pickups, such as Cure, their most recent. I mean, absolutely the esports team that you could tell your grandma about, and if she went and looked at, oh yeah, she's not going to encounter anything weird or wacky, is she? Just nice textbook. Oh, good. The shining force in StarCraft.
Yeah, Ben, I mean, be real with me here. When you heard that Team Liquid was picking up Cure, how excited were you? It's just such a massive pickup.
I was really happy, but I was also very happy for Clem, because I know Clem is quite a fan, and like when it comes to both those players, that they approach the game, what I can say, like very differently. Like Clem is very quick in your face, and if there was one matchup that I felt that, you know, he got a little bit punished a bit in, was TVT, even though he's absolutely stepped it up. And Cure is like a mastermind when it comes to positioning and just playing kind of like, he's like an upgraded Ryung in my mind, in that he's well-paced, very solid across the board, and I felt that was the perfect guy for not just Clem to learn from, but Cure to learn from Clem. And it was really funny when we found out that he was joining, because it turns out that Cure is a big fan of Clem. So it was just wonderful, you know, absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, no, you're right. That is a very different playstyle, which is really exciting. I'm looking to see how both of them improve as the year goes on, and I mean, we're gonna get a good look at that in our, I want to say, our next series, because that's gonna be Cure and Clem, or excuse me, Clem and Spirit, and we get to see Clem's TVT, which has been very much on the up and up recently. But for now, we're still in a ZVZ as third bases go down at the same timing. Elazer's not going to forgo the Baneling Nest this time. Doesn't really want to make that happen. And we saw how much value in game 2 he got with 2 Baneling connections. So I don't blame him, but it does mean you spend a little bit more gas early. It does slow your move into Roaches, into Lair, into things like that, just a small bit.
No, absolutely. They're both being very respectful of one another with these early Baneling Nests. Something that I expect from Serral pretty much most of the games, because it just allows you to play defensive. They can come in a little bit handy later on with the explosions on the drone lines and such. But yeah, Elazer this time also meeting that checkpoint. We obviously know that the game prior he didn't make it at all and just kind of flooded Serral before he knew really what was hitting him. But yeah, this map especially, there's a lot of paths to your opponent base. No very one clear spot to take. I mean, there are the speed zones in the middle that can also be a bit Larry-Mary. But so far, Serral just doing Serral things, scouting a lot. And he's the one getting a very quick Roach Warren here behind, while Elazer is popping up a lot of links.
I mean, look, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. We saw what Elazer did. We saw how much value he was able to find, but that's a nice scout. Seeing those lings already, he's not going to know all of it. Not at the moment, but he's got plenty of overlords. But at least it's enough of a scout here, and the Banelings trundling across. The speed zones you talked about, Ben, that means you can build Banelings defensively at home, and they're going to arrive a little bit faster than the Zerg is going to expect. Maybe that's going to make the difference, but Serral already one defensive Baneling on the north side. He's built a couple more, and it seems like Elazer behind this. He's just going to drone up. This was, I'm not going to say fake pressure because he did build a lot of lings, but it wasn't the most committed thing. Roach Warren on the way, Lair on the way behind this, but now Serral, he's building a bunch of roaches here. He's the one that wants to get aggressive, and with these speed zones, those roaches are going to get across the map very fast.
CVZ is so hard to read, man. With the fact that your opponent can make so many drones at once while doing something that looks very different, like what you're seeing and what you're being shown can be very different to what's actually happening. Serral is greeting this with a little bit of his own pressure. Look at Elazer. He's just droning up. He's kind of smiling at a massive man knocking on his front door, and he's like, ha ha, the door is bolted, son. Getting his own lair and stuff, but is he being a bit too ballsy about this? I don't think he's respecting this enough at all.
No, he's identified that something's wrong. He's got a spine on the way, but Ben is only just now getting started. Now there's a run by on the third base, and 3 workers have gone down, but Elazer doesn't need more economy. He needs more army. He needs to defend this. He can afford to lose a couple workers. This is very committed coming out of Serral, but even still, 9 drones off just 2 Banes. That is not enough, although that does buy some time. It does allow him to get some roaches out here. And now Elazer's the one that's going to get ready to run across the map. He's up 20 army supply. He's got so many roaches, 10 more on the way. Now, is Serral the one? We got to ask ourselves the question, is Serral going to be ready for this?
I don't know. And also, remember, Elazer's got that tech advantage as well, right? Or did he? No, he cancelled his lair. Okay. So the lair's starting up for Serral. He's the one that now has to buy time with his massive bunch of lings. Luckily, the front door isn't. It's open for him. The floodgates are on. Drones are pulled. This is absolutely what Serral needed in a game like this when... And look at Elazer, all that blue on the minimap, heading home. Nice saves with the roaches there, turning into the Ravagers, but this was a beautiful move out of Serral, and oh my goodness, one little mistake there, leaving that front door open. Not what he needed.
I mean, even still, Ben, that was a lot of lings that Serral has lost. He's up 53 workers to 39.
But Serral cancelled his lair now, so he realizes the importance of this. This is beautiful.
I was going to say he's got a lair on the way, +1. He has spent so much into things that are going to matter in 5 minutes. They're not going to matter right now, but he does have spines on the way a little bit faster than Elazer did. Even still, they're not ready just yet. Banelings are morphing in. Biles, they're going to try to cancel the Banes. They do force that, but this army out of Elazer right now, it's here, it's large, it's powerful. Queens will fall. Banelings, you know what? They're actually not going to get that much done, and now Elazer, Banelings on top of the spines, cancels those down. And the Roach army from Serral on the north side. It's a little bit sectioned off. Banelings in the middle line. Again, deny the spines. This army out of Elazer is starting to get damage done, but +1, it's on. No, sorry, Serral canceled that one as well. He needs everything that he's got right now on the the Ravagers. They're exposed. Elazer kites them away, but they will fall. And it seems like at the end of the day here, Serral's bought enough time. Elazer, he had a powerful time. He's got 7 workers down. But Serral, he's bought the time. He canceled what he needed to, and it seems like he will survive this.
My goodness, Elazer really brought Serral to the zoo on this one. Like, they both had to make so many calls, and now, after the dust has settled, they both start up their lairs. And I mean, like, he cancelled his +1 as well, did Serral, so realizing he needed as many resources as he could muster there. Does survive, does weather the storm. Drone count is 47 versus 46, granted. Elazer just did a lot of catching up on that front, because he really sent it, man. He really shoved across the board.
And look at resources lost.
Doesn't get much closer than that.
Yeah, 1 ling is literally the difference there between the 2 players, which is just, I guess a couple more lings have died. But at that moment, literally a single ling, 25 minerals. The difference between Elazer and Serral in this game. Granted, Serral did have that big economic spike as he got himself up 15 workers, but for the most part, it has been reset. And it's odd to say, Ben, but this game is just dead even. After 2 all-ins back and forth against each other, both players even it out perfectly. And now, well, we get to go into the mid game. Extra gas is getting added in, and I love this from Elazer. The one thing that Serral has been famously weak to in ZVZ, it's been Aspire, but Serral in this game, he's got the same idea. Paired Spires on the way.
You know, this is the kind of game where Spires are absolutely awesome, I think. Like, they've both been absolutely neck and neck on dealing lots of damage, like, intentionally and unintentionally. And Serral, he's been so good about scouting that if he gets on top of knowing what he's up against here, that'd be great. Obviously, if you are in a Muta war, getting the correct upgrade going, as in armor versus the attack, because normally, if you're not against the Muta, you want to get the attack. If you are against Muta, you get the armor. That could help a lot for him. But yeah, supply's very close, as you mentioned. Supply lost as well, or rather, resources lost very close. This is cool. Like, it's really nice to see that Elazer has just brought a flavor that is absolutely capable of taking down Serral. It's just not over and done with yet. Where is the Spire, actually? It is in the natural. Hasn't yet spotted it, I don't think. Serral hasn't.
No, he did. He had a changeling in the natural, so he did see the Spire. Oh, he had a changeling even? Jeez. And Elazer, he hasn't seen the Spire. And I was going to say the other question is, effectively, how many mutas does Elazer make? That's the big question.
For Serral. Or rather, Corruptor, sorry, for Serral.
Oh, this is a classic. You know, your opponent's going mutas. He has the read that apparently Elazer's going to commit to this pretty hard.
And armor.
Yeah, he's going to hit a Roach Corruptor all in. This is such a good idea coming out of Serral. And Elazer's not going to... He's not going to be ready for this, I don't think. It's a hard thing to scout, and more importantly, even if you scout it, you've already built the mutas, you have 18 supply locked up in them, and they're just not going to be useful in the main fight at all.
No, I mean, like, Elazer's ahead in supply right now. He's feeling that his time is now. Upgrade-wise, he's not investing in upgrades, so it absolutely is a good call for him, but look at this. The Corruptors, they're going to start supply blocking him pretty hard. I think Serral's taken a pretty decent fight here overall. It's much closer, and a lot of the production from Elazer is not yet here. I say that, though. Elazer has so much on the field. So much, and it's still coming.
That he does. We see Serral trying to save some of these Roaches, turn them into Ravagers. It doesn't work. And now the Corruptors, they've chased the mutas away, but most of them have survived. And Elazer, he actually pumps more, which is a super cool decision if you think about it. You know that you've been countered, theoretically. There are Corruptors on the field. That's a problem. There's supply blocking Elazer, denying all of his vision. They chase the mutas away. But you get to a certain point, and the muta glaives can do a lot here, diving into the main base. 6 workers go down. And Serral's not going to be expecting Elazer to build more mutas. He's going to say, I've countered you. That's it. Getting this higher muta count, it's a solid response.
It's also like they're both utilizing the big gas that they've got on these new 4th bases. Now, Corruptors, especially when there's +1 armor finish, they are going to be pretty damn dandy against these mutas. And these mutas, they're not going to take part in these fights. Or if they do, they're going to be under a lot of fire. Now, Corruptors don't deal a ton of damage very quickly, but what they do is absolutely take good fights against muta. But the speed of these mutas is absolutely something that Serral is going to have a little bit of trouble with, especially as the fact that every time they go over these massive slope or speed zones, it's so much easier for the air units, given that they're around this pillar, that they can just utilize for themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, Corruptors, they don't burst things down particularly fast either, so he's going to dive on top, get a couple Corruptors, Ravagers as well. Kind of triggers Serral to make an attack that, honestly, Ben, I'm not sure he wants to take. Look at the supply. 128 to 109. Elazer's maxed out or nearabouts. Serral's not. He has exploded onto the map here. And now, yeah, the Corruptors, they're going to continue to supply block a little bit, but the mutas, they're free. They're footloose and fancy free on the map, denying vision, diving, thinking about diving into the main base. And honestly, Penn, in these fights, the Corruptors, they're dead supply. They don't do a lot here, and mutas getting on top of the Ravagers, knocking them down, kiting away from the Corruptors here. And Elazer, he's got a better concave as well. Dives on top. Miles don't land. The question, though, how's the Roach count looking? Is this enough for Elazer to punch through?
I'm not sure. I mean, the supplies are very close, and you can see that Serral has a few more Ravagers alive. But remember, the mutas right now, even though the Corruptors are dead weight, the mutas are sort of also. But he gets on top of the 4th base with those mutas, does take out quite a few drones. Now, those mutas, are they on a one-way trip, or are they going to make it home? I mean, these Corruptors have quite a bit of work to do. It's unfortunate that they are a little bit slower than these mutas, and these mutas can just keep on taking the fights that they want to take.
Yeah, they can. And the big thing, of course, we got to point out as well, Elazer's down in upgrade. Serral's got +2, Elazer's only on +1. These Roaches are worth more pound for pound, but Elazer dives on top, thinks he can kill the Ravagers, and they are a little bit exposed. So many of these Ravagers seem primed to fall. The Biles, Elazer stops for a second, goes again. Nice hold position, Micro. Corruptors, though, on the other side. They're going to try to snipe a base. The Mutas, they're on this side of the map, getting tons of economic damage done. Ben, this game is getting so wild right now. And Elazer, it seems like he's really taking advantage of it. Big supply leads, big economic leads. He's going to lose the fourth base, certainly. But it seems like at this point, yeah, no, Elazer gets on top of the Ravagers as well. I think we're going to see a base traded for a base here. Upgrades are going to be done soon. Elazer is doing so well in this game.
The Mutas, man. The Mutas have been so good for him. Like, they have just done damage, and the Corruptors, they've just been playing Bring Around the Rosie. I like that Serral split them off, so he started taking out hatcheries with his Corruptors and Overlords on the other side of the map, but too little too late, I feel. And Elazer, I mean, this game is getting ridiculously close. Elazer's supply block now can't actually make any more units, but Serral's broke as a joke, so he can't make units for that reason.
He's building 6 Mutas. Okay, so let's see. He's on 17 Corruptors. He's got Mutas on the way. They can actually shoot down because he's just lost he's lost the ground war so badly. But this is an interesting decision. If you think about it, Elazer can't really win the air battle, and now Corruptor's on top of the layer here. What is happening in this game?
I have no idea anymore. Like, Serral's Mutas, if played perfectly, can't die right now. And, like, the Muta count, the Muta flock that Elazer once had has been massively thinned out. It's a weird scenario, but there's still a chance for Serral, weirdly, which is so funny to say. I almost feel like Elazer, does he start making his... Oh, no, he can't win the air battle anymore. Like, he can't. He has to keep on doing what he's doing. He's just taking out all the drones of Serral. Serral's actually mining 0 minerals per minute right now.
I think the play here, honestly, is you bunker up 1 to 2 bases, you build tons of spores, and you say, hey, Serral, you don't have an economy. You have 10 drones on the map. You have... Actually, it's going to be... He's not going to target those down. You have less than nothing on the map right now. You are 100% all in on these Corruptors, on these Mutas, on this ability to keep me supply blocked. If I turtle up on this base, if I just build 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 spores, you're not going to do anything. And that's okay. That's a pretty solid response as well. He's got a Hydrogen on the way. Then he's got 2,000 gas. That's not the limiting factor here. Long distance mining, if he can get, what's the Muta count at? He's at 11 Mutas. If he can get himself up to 15, 20 Hydras, something like that, maybe not even. This Muta army, this one saving grace that Serral has in this game, it's not going to be able to do all that much. But for right now, that Hydrogen's not ready. And this base, there's no creep around it. The spores aren't going to keep it safe. Long distance drones, well, they're going to go down very quickly. But Ben, it's 46 drones to 11.
Overlords in the main look. I mean, this is actually getting to a point where Elazer is going to struggle to have the supply to make units. And this is getting out of control here, Theo. It really is. Like, even remaking drones, he has to constantly remake Overlords, and getting up a base is harder said than done. Serral isn't able to do much behind this. His economy is shot, but man, is he making a game out of this?
Yeah, and the Hydrogen was sniped as well, so we only got, I think, 6 of them out before that was done, and Hydra range was canceled. So that timing that Elazer might like to look for is a bit problematic. There are more spores outside of this rich gas base now, and there are queens here that can transfuse, but they're not. The spores aren't in the best position here, Ben. They're sitting in the mineral line. They're denying that, but I think we might just see Serral dive on top of this. I don't know how I feel about this. The Hydras are starting to join the fray. The base may fall, but is this going to be unacceptable? He's not even going to go for it. There's too much anti-air on the map right now.
Sick attempt by Serral making a game out of this, but Elazer, I think he's done it. He's secured it. Now, that gas can all be put to good use here. And that Hydra number, like the economy of him, is going to spiral out of control here. And I think Serral at some point is just going to be like, you know what? You've got enough, haven't you? I can't beat this number of Hydras no matter what I do from this point. And Serral's economy, so broke, so dead behind all of it. Well played, good sir, but geez Louise, what a game.
Man, that's a sinky feeling as well. Serral thought he had one base he had to deny it. Suddenly he finds another. It's like, oh, crap. I've got more to deal with. And yeah, Elazer is continuously supply blocked. That's a problem. Absolutely. That's something that Serral's been dealing with. But the moment Elazer stabilizes, he's on 44 workers. He's got 3 bases. He's going to be okay. And now Hydra range is done. Now he's getting armor on the way. Just looking for ways to spend this gas. He even added an infestation pit. This isn't going to be for Hive, Ben. Most likely this is just going to be for a couple infestors. And once those infestors hit the field, if he decides to go for them, That's gonna be it. The fungal with the hydras below is such a big deal. These roaches though.
He's going for the grab on the hydras here. He kind of baited them with the corruptor. He does take a pretty favorable start to this fight. Hey, could Serral be making this happen? I mean, those hydras are all very vulnerable units, and oh my goodness, okay.
No way.
Elazer's still got so much in the north here. He's still got so much. Serral started making me believe at some point. Does take out the hatchery of troubles, but I think Elazer's tied up the series here.
Ben, I've been thinking Elazer's tied up this series for the last... the mutas from early on, finally getting a little bit more damage here, knocking Serral down to 4 drones instead of 11. But, Ben, I've been thinking this game is over for the last 5 minutes. And Elazer is Serral still making a game of it. But at this point, finally, Elazer goes. He punches Serral out of this game. People say ZVZ isn't fun. People don't like ZVZ. I show you this game. Are you not entertained? That was... Oh, man. That was so much fun.
That was really cool. Like, Elazer is really taking Serral to the zoo on this. Like, it's great to see. Like, I really feel that Serral's been playing damn good, but Elazer's been absolutely greeting him. And upon that first game where it was like, it went the late game and it was like, oh, damn, Serral's so good in this. Elazer's absolutely been avoiding it, and not like wrongly. It's not like, oh, he's really bad late game. He shouldn't do it. He's good late game. It's just Serral's the best. So why play to your opponent's strengths? And a lot of this stuff, I love the muta choice there. And maybe I'm thinking the Serral should have gone mutas as well. Like even though corruptors are a counter to mutas equal costs kind of thing, the fact that they can't really have as much utility for being out there and about and being able to threaten where they want to. And even the utilization of the speed zones where he'd pick off a few units, dart back out again. And yeah, just really, really good play out of Elazer. And also, it's one of those things that players like Bly used to absolutely do in this matchup, where it's like, you invest in the air, but then it's like, boom, the roach flood. And it was just very cool textbook play out of Elazer to catch him off guard. Really nice play.
Yeah, and the wild thing about this as well, we go into every series, Lambo, Elazer versus Serral, and we say this could be dangerous for Serral. Elazer had not taken a single map off of Serral before this series since, I had it up, since 2020. Since December 15th, since, September 8th, 2020. And now he's got Serral on, I don't know that he's on the ropes necessarily, but he's taken him to game number 5. And this is something that Elazer can do. He can throw us the weird games, and now Oceanboard Ben, one more map to determine who moves on. Our third 5-game series of 3 here in this day. Oh, one more.
Absolutely. Spawning over in the bottom right-hand side for one final time today. Team Basilisks, Serral.
And in the upper left, taking pole position in that game number 4 and just not letting it go. For Team Liquid, it's Elazer.
Really solid series out of both these guys. Like, this has been a whole array of ZVZ. It's been the late game with Viper Lurker. It's been the early game with the Ling Bane. It's been a lot of the cancelling by Lurk, cancelling by upgrades to hold off a Roach push, doing this, that, Muta Corruptor. They've really been utilizing every unit. The only one that I haven't seen is the Ultra, but we've never seen that in ZVZ, or very rarely at least. Yeah, they've really been throwing everything at one another, and it just shows you that the tip-top Zergs in Europe, like the Rayners and Serrals of the world, they absolutely have to be kept on their toes by the likes of the Elazers and the Lambos. There's just a real deep field of solid Zerg talent in Europe, and it can't be underestimated.
No, it really can. And I think the big thing we need to talk about that last game was, so that build that Serral went for, building 8, 12 Corruptors, just enough to counter the Mutas, that was meant to be an all-in. Yes, there was a 4th base, but that's, you build those Corruptors, you max out on Roaches, you run across the map, you beat all the Mutas down, and, well, your Roach army wins on the ground because you have more supply committed on the ground. Elazer did such a good job of dancing the Mutas around, doing harass, forcing the Corruptors, not allowing, and then when the Corruptors went to counter them, they would kill Roaches, they would kill Ravagers. Elazer did such a good job of delaying the timing, delaying the push, allowing himself to max out, finding value, that eventually Serral, he built this army, and he had Corruptors at a certain point. I mean, they did a decent job, they kill structures, but they are much more dead supply. So it's tempting to say, you look at this and you say, oh, and maybe just don't go with the Corruptor build. Maybe Serral should have built more mutas. That's a really solid build, and Serral wins with that so often. And it really just speaks to the class of Elazer to realize what his win condition was and take a player like Serral and jerk him around the map.
Absolutely. The lower bracket right now, people in there are absolutely trembling because Elazer's one map away from sending Serral to the lower bracket, and you know, it's not very often that he gets sent there earlier in a tournament, but when he does, he's made monumental runs. I'll never forget him at Home Story Cup where he was in the lower bracket, made the run all the way through, dominating absolutely everybody, and ended up taking the entire tournament. He's just that scary a player. But yeah, Elazer is absolutely showcasing a real good understanding of not just CVZ, but his opponent. And just, he's respected how good he is in certain stages, and just, he's making him kind of play his game a little bit. And that is so important to be able to do. And Serral's scouting so good, he's on top of everything. He's making these reads where it's like, oh, you're going muta, I'm going corruptor, you'll stop making the muta, right? It's like, no, I'm not going to stop it. I'm going to keep on going and taking good fights, making the ground as well. Just really, really high level ZVZ out of these boys. And we're going to see a little bit of early game skirmishes out of Serral this time. Yeah,
for the first time, this is Serral, the one getting aggressive. He's going to get a very nice queen snipe here early on. And again, we talked about how important queens are. It's production, it's defense, it's everything. And now with 2 banelings as well, it's one less than, well, one more than Elazer has. But with the queens, with the banelings, seems like Serral's going to back out for now. Satisfied with his victory because he's up 5 drones. He droned behind this. And he's going to get a scout on the main base of baneling. Oh, well, Serral can maybe get some more done now. That is so painful.
That is unbelievably painful, actually. Like, that is, that was so many lings to one bane. I don't know the exact number, and I don't want to guess either. Like, I'm kind of crying on the inside, but Serral, like, yeah, he took a page out of Elazer's book in this series, where it's like, kind of throw a lot at you, drone up behind it, make you overreact, which Elazer kind of did, and then boom, lost a lot of lings as well. Terrible start for the poll here, but great going for Serral.
I mean, it's going to be a nice scout from Elazer on the other side, though. He gets a couple lings into the main base, sees how much gas. At this point, you're going to be 3 out of 3, but more importantly, sees the lack of Valair. He knows that Serral's not rushing into it pell-mell. He's going to stay on ground tech a little bit, and now Serral, he's up 18 army supplies on the other side of the map here. He's got a ton of banes, and you have to be so careful with this. This one baneling cocoon is going to get canceled, and now Elazer looks for that timing. Another set of banelings will go down, or a set of lings will go down. Serral, he's starting to make some inroads, but Elazer's got 13 roaches on the way, and he should be fine. Even if he loses a queen to this, which is not what you want, 13 roaches should solve this. But I mean, the queen needs to plug. Yeah, okay. Wow. Wall's going to get plugged. Ling's on the other side, but Elazer, he just needs these roaches to pop. He just needs to buy time for that, although Lings get on top of the pop, so some of those roaches, they're not going to get all that much done, Ben.
No, if all his units popped out at the same time and in the same location, it could have been a lot better for him. But Serral realizing, okay, I did damage there. I absolutely did. Killed the queen, got well, not that many drones, actually. He did really good to keep those alive, but got the roaches as well, and he backs off a little bit. Now, what's been good for him? Floodgates opening. So he does get a few lings inside just to make sure, like, what's going on here. Sees a lair. Really important to know whether he's got to deal with, like, speed roaches or anything like that. Maybe, like, mutas, seeing a spire. Because, you know, Elazer's thrown everything at him in this series. But Serral does get a big scout on all the mineral lines as well, realizing he is ahead this game.
That he does. And again, he's droned behind this. He's up 10 workers in this game, just off the pressure, honestly, off of killing all those lings off the single bane. And it doesn't seem like he's going to stop anytime soon. He's pressuring on the map, and he doesn't even have to do anything. Realistically, he just has to show these roaches, and Elazer has to give it so much respect. 3 spines on the way. And then even if those get canceled, that's a drone and a half right there. That is money that Elazer is spending that is not going to turn into as an economy. It's 11 workers behind. He has to be so careful with this, but look at what he's doing. Carapace on the way.
To cancel the 4th base as well. Serral is on point this game. Like, he's taken his 4th and realizes, all right, my opponent needs to take 4th as well. Cancels it immediately. And I'm looking at all the upgrades as well. I mean, Elazer's actually started up the Carapace before +1 range, which is interesting.
This feels like a fake 4th Ben. This is going to be a ton of roaches, a ton of lings. And Serral, he's getting a very quick Hydra Den. This might bite him. He thinks that this is going to be more of a macro game just when he's ahead. Transitioning later, Roach drops on the way. We're going to see a big swing coming out of Elazer very quickly. And I think Serral might have the wrong read here.
I mean, you say that, but I'm looking at his army. His army's just better, Bayo. It's just better. His eco's better as well. Like, he's got more roaches. He can make roaches. He's still making a ton. Like, the Hydra's almost like a... And also, you got to remember, he knows that he's cancelled the 4th at least once. Like, economically, he knows he's in good stead. And here, gets that drop going as well. Again, that's something that Elazer did in the first few games to great effect. But now Serral's taking it to his repertoire. This is beautiful.
Yeah, and I mean, Serral canceled the Hydra Den anyways, so he had a bad read for a second, but now he knows exactly what's happening. And now it's +1 attack versus those Biles, though, are massive. And they will force Serral back for the moment, but it's +1 Carapace versus +1 attack. And I don't need to tell you the math here, Ben. If you're not going for a Ling, Roach, Ravager type of all-in, Carapace is just worse. It is quite strictly worse in the matchup. So Elazer, he needs to hit with this timing, but he's already kind of missed it. He's just building roaches. There are no Lings here. At this point, there's no point to building Carapace. He's not finding any value out of it whatsoever. And Serral's just in a massive lead.
A really big lead. Like, it's kind of deceiving when you look at just the minimap and stuff and the supplies. It's like, all right, is it that big a lead? It is a big lead for Serral. Like, he's committed an extra good 1,000 resources to infrastructure. Just getting those 2 upgrades on the go as well. They're pretty damn pricey. Tunneling Claws Burrow, while also still having a bigger bank than your opponent and a more set up 4th location. Yeah, Elazer, he has a mountain to climb here, and against most players it would be tough, but against Serral it's really tough. He's landed some real good Biles though. That army of Serral is definitely getting softened up.
And I like the holding this position as well, but a couple Lings force Elazer back off the position he's holding. So luckily, he's got a Roach drop on the other side, and that will force Serral back for quite a bit. But we need to see better target fire. Get the Queen down, get drones down, start to hurt the economy. And for now, he's going to get the Queen back up, picking the Overlord, regen up a tiny bit. But now Serral, he knows what's happening. Spores going down, Spines going down, Queen's on the high ground here. This Roach drop is not going to get much more done. So it does force Serral back. That's something. This is a scary position, though. And Elazer, Biles will land, but he's going to back up for now. And it's going to be 2-1 versus 0-1. This upgrade lead that Serral has with his Roaches, his Ravagers, is almost insurmountable right now, Ben.
It's huge. It's huge. And like any fight that Elazer takes in the next minute or so, it's a bad one for him. Like I think he knows it as well. He's making a bit of a Hail Mary play here, going straight for the Hive before even a Hydraless Den is done or anything. And it's actually before Serral's Hive. So you can tell that he's cutting some corners here, but you have to when you're behind. You absolutely have to. You can't play the same game and just play catch up. Not against a player like Serral. And Serral, those Tunneling Claw Roaches are going to be out in the field, and they can start making magic happen now. You see that in the north base.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a couple workers for the moment, but it forces Serral.
That army of Elazer in the middle base getting kind of caught out of position here, and Serral's going to start running him down a little bit.
At least for now, it's only a 1 upgrade lead. It's not 2, and yeah, +1 attack is, or +2 attack is again better than armor. But at the very least, it's only 1. It's a little bit more manageable of a fight. If the Biles land, they don't care about that upgrade anyways. But Serral is just running through the Biles. He doesn't care. And Roach is in the natural. 12 drones go down.
Ooh,
you know, Ben,
Biles.
Those Biles are massive. But I look at the bank and I ask myself whether it truly matters. 4K, 2K versus 2K, 1K. It's the money that Serral has on the map right now and the economic damage he's gotten over the last minute. The Biles are big, but he can afford it, honestly.
He can. It's just Elazer did skip out that beat, man. Like, remember, he's invested in that Hive. He's got the Hive up now, like 200 supply a piece. Granted, Serral is ahead, make no mistake, and he has been dealing economic damage. And fights like these, every fight that I look at, I just feel that Serral's been playing well. Definitely some Biles have landed that probably shouldn't have done. But Elazer, he's getting himself into a position here where he's not down and out. You can still see that there is light at the end of the tunnel. It's just, will Serral allow it to happen?
I mean, dragging Serral into the late game Roach Hydra Viper game, is that really a light at the end of the tunnel, Ben?
It's the only shot. It's the only shot. He can't dance with him in the mud here. He's bigger, he's stronger. And I mean, everywhere we look, the mud, like Serral thrives in the mud right now. He's thriving. And Elazer, look, they are both scrambling in the middle. This is real chaos happening.
I mean, this was a pretty good opportunity for Elazer. He's not going to be able to find it, but he had his army in a full surround. Too distracted, though, by the run by on the 4th base. In the main base, 12 more workers fall. I guess the big deal is that the gas losses haven't been all that different when we move into late game. But this setup right here, the Biles are not going to land incredibly well, and it's a good concave for Elazer. The one thing I want to see, Hydras have joined this army. There's more DPS in the army of Elazer right now. But Ben, the one thing I want to see with his quick hive timing, we had to see some Vipers. If you can drop Parasitic or Blinding Clouds on the Roach army, it can do incredibly well. Look at that, Serral's like, you're blocking me? No, that's fine. I got Burrow. I can go into the main base. And he's got such an army on the right side. This is actually going to be really nice for Elazer. He's got more damage. He's got a better army, at least for the moment, as the Biles punish some of those Ravagers on the back line. And Elazer's starting to get some better trades, but he has to dodge those Biles and loses a Ravager for it. That's not great. But this army on the reinforcements, this last minute or so, Ben, he's been handling this much better.
Look at the production tab, though. Like, Elazer's been making nothing but roaches, whereas Serral, he's been trading out those roaches very cost efficiently. Like, very cost efficiently. You saw him buying time in the main base. He's been killing the eco as well. That's Lurkers and Hydras joining the field. 3-3 on the way as well. Yes, his gas bank is completely gone. He's even made another Lurker den here. Kind of, maybe one of his is exposed here, worried about losing it, but yeah, he's got Lurkers. He's got the big army now that Elazer had so much trouble against in game 1.
And the problem, of course, when you go for Hydras, things like that, you don't really, they don't want to get jumped upon. They're a lot of damage, but they're very weak. So heavy Roach going max out on Roach Ravager against Roach Hydra often really favors the Roach player. But because these upgrades are so heavy for Elazer right now, the Hydras are going to last that much longer. And now with Lurkers on the field as well, you're right, Elazer's transition is not good. He only had 7 Hydras on the field when this started. His +3 attacks on the way, but he doesn't have Carapace. He's only single Evo. Seismic Spines are late. Roach or Lurker Burrow's going to be even later. And yeah, that minute for Elazer, you're right. He handled it very nicely, but the transitions out of Serral are just so much crisper.
Absolutely are. Absolutely are. 4 Vipers about to join the field for Serral as well. And he does have a lot of Lurkers. The Lurkers will probably keep on rolling out. Gas-wise, he does have to be careful because he is on 5 bases. But Serral, amidst all of this, keeps on going with the Tunneling Claws. Like, he keeps on shoving them out. Just dealing damage here, there, and everywhere. Elazer has a supply lead. So there is absolutely potential here to deal damage. It's just going to be hard to crack what Serral has because look at that. That is a lot of Lurkers here.
He dives on top of it, though. He thinks he can. Hydras are going to show in from the backside. The Roach... This is not going to work. Hey, Ben, have you heard that Lurkers are really good against armor units? Because they're really good against Roaches. Elazer thought he had a timing, but he just lost everything there.
Oh, I mean, Serral right now, he's just deflecting everything, man. He's the man of steel in this game, and he has weathered the storm. He's about to hit 3-3. He's about to have 4 Vipers with good amounts of energy as well to throw out, and that Roach count that he once had, he's down to 1. It is pure Hydra on the field with Ravager, with Lurker, with Viper as well. This is Serral's playground now. Welcome to it, Elazer.
God, look at the army value here. It's 1,000 more gas, it's 1,000 more minerals. It's the same supply, fine, but this army from Serral is so much more valuable. And Elazer needs to find some way to get into it. But with resources lost here, he's now up 4K. He was doing well for a time. He was trading decently well, and importantly, trading gas just about evenly. But because Serral got into that, oh no, that Lurker gets so much damage done. Blinding Cloud as well, the concave on top of every single thing. Elazer, he keeps looking for these aggressive options. He keeps trying. Because again, he doesn't want to go to the lower bracket, but every fight he takes, Ben, is just, it's trading worse and worse here. He's not at the tech he needs to be, and he's not even at the upgrades he needs to be.
And look, that one Roach that I said was still on the field, it's getting value. Like, every single unit, he plays like a Terran, man, where it's like you keep that Banshee alive for so long, you make use of it. And he does that with Zerg units, which is just incredible. Elazer feels he has to go, and he kind of does, right? Is this the fight? I mean, Blinding Clouds are good, the Biles are good by Elazer as well, but the complexity of Serral's army, too good. GG, well played. Serral does take it 3-2.